Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff, where we talk all things real estate investing and, as you may imagine, some stuff. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the channel, show some support, follow BP on his mobile home park journey. Check out Carrot and Investor Fuse as well. Shameless plug. Speaking of both those products, we have he's kind of like a UM football Hall of Famer in regards of using Investor Fuse. Rick Howell and Keith Howell on the podcast, longtime Investor Fuse guy, recently on Carrot, which we're going to talk about, which is awesome. So thank you guys for coming on. Happy Valentine. How are you guys spending Valentine's Day? Happy Valentine's Day. Besides doing podcasts and jumping on
Rooster. Why are you asking another dude that? Like,
looks like I'm hanging out with 5 dudes or 4 other dudes on Valentine's Day.
No, I just feel like I'm so out of the ballpark, bro. No,
well, it's Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day, man. You guys celebrate.
I was at 7-Eleven and I wished I said Happy Valentine's Day to the lady behind the counter, and I was like, "Ooh, that's
that's a good."
Don't know if this is like a Merry Christmas, but I definitely just wished her Happy Love Day.
There you go.
That's a good way to live life, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, man. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to diving in this with you guys.
Absolutely, man. So tell us a little bit about you guys. What are you guys up to in real estate?
What are we? We are a little family-owned business up here in Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. Keith has been working with me full-time now for 2 years. I started my journey back in 2009. I was a construction worker, electrician, and got into real estate on accident. At that time, I don't know how old you guys are, but in 2009, things were tight in the construction world, right? If you got laid off at that time, you were off for a minimum of 2 years. And there happened to be another guy in the job trailer that was flipping houses on the side, just doing it with him and his kid. And I was always curious about how he got started. And he didn't know how to teach me how to get started, obviously. But what he did do is he gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He said, "This is how I got started, man." Another guy gave me this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and lo and behold, I'm sure most of the people on this podcast have probably that's had some sort of an effect on you. But it did. It changed the trajectory of my entire family's life. So we just started, I jumped in. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but for about 6 years, we just did it like construction guys. We would buy a house off the MLS, because at that time you could find anything on the MLS.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah. We just buy something, and 2 electricians would go in and just flip this thing. And didn't have any rhyme or reason on why we were doing it. And we just did it. And fast forward that a little bit, we weren't doing a lot of deals. We were doing maybe 2 or 3 a year, if that. And, I wanted to do more, but I didn't know how. And then the day came where I had some money stolen from me. I had a contractor back in the day. You didn't know anything. So, of course, I was giving contractors money up front to start my project. And one day it was 15 grand, man. He was supposed to get cabinets, countertops, and all this and that. And that was the day that he decided not to come back. So everything happens for a reason, I believe, because shortly after that, another guy that was rehabbing houses down in Columbus, doing very high level, said, "Hey, man, you ever thought about hiring a coach?" And I said, "What's that? What's a coach?" He said, "Well, a real estate coach." And I said, "Brother, I have no idea what that is." He says, "Well, I was part of Fortune Builders. That's how we got started." And I'm like, "What's a Fortune Builder?" Right? So I'm the easiest sell ever. I'm Googling them, trying to find out who they were. And next thing you know, I'm a Fortune Builders student. And that changed the game for us. It taught us how to take a flipping houses hobby and turn it into a business.
What year was this, roughly?
December 16th of 2016.
Okay.
Yep. And then
about 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, had a little bit of success with those guys. I ended up being a speaker and a coach on the road for about 3 years, about 2 or 3 different cities a month. So I got to travel around and teach people how to get started in real estate. And it was very rewarding, very passionate, because that little bit of education, I know you can get education anywhere, and it doesn't really, the education is what it is. But just somebody being able to teach you the guidelines of how to build an actual business through real estate, that changed the game for me. And I like sharing the same information with other people now.
Love it, man. And how about Keith? How long has he been on the team?
Keith, share your story. When did you graduate?
About 2 years. December of 17, I graduated, marketing degree, played football at a small Division III school in Michigan. After that journey, I took a dive into transportation and logistics. Got my feet wet in the business world. Always worked hand in hand with my dad, and went to the different meetups and seminars and everything else. And kind of grew a passion for that. And as everyone, COVID had happened, and I figured there was not a better time to take a leap. During that time, as I was at home, I was trying to do transportation, and it wasn't the same. So then I joined up with him and got my realtor's license, and decided to get my license down in Florida as well. So now I'm licensed in Ohio and Florida, and kind of run our whole marketing, our marketing channel and sales and acquisition side. So that's kind of my journey there thus far, and looking to continue to grow and together.
So, as somebody who doesn't know you guys, so if I'm following the story along, it's pretty much, you guys pulled yourself up by the bootstrap, just flipping. And listen, I know a lot of guys nowadays, it's all wholesaling, getting in. I think flipping first. I know it's a rough game and there's a lot of learning lessons, but I think it gives you an education. That's how I started,
Right.
And it's like, it gives you this education, not just on true cost and your money or, your borrowing or whatever, but it really teaches you the real estate side and the construction side of stuff. No matter how many coaches you have in wholesaling, you just won't be able to learn.
Right.
So I think that's great. But so when I was following your timeline, you guys basically generate your own leads, but you're not wholesaling them. What do you do with your bad leads is what I was wondering. Are you so pinpointed that you only get leads that you want, or do you have excess leads that you wholesale, so you're kind of hybrid, or do you just throw them in the trash? What happens?
That's a great question. So what we learned is, let me unpack that a little bit. The only reason we never even heard the word wholesaling until I went to my first Fortune Builders event. We just did what they said on TV. We just wanted to buy a house and flip one. We were construction guys. So what I tell people now is that's not for everybody. Who are you, right? Some people are just sales and marketing gurus, and rehabbing would be miserable for them, right? Mm-hmm. Because wholesaling isn't investing anyways. Wholesaling is a sales and marketing business. The only reason we jumped into wholesaling first is because we were building buildings every single day, right? So that we skipped over that for years. Now, will we wholesale a deal here and there? If we get to the point where our constraints are, we like to get to about 7 to 10 rehabs at a time consistently going on at once. Once we get over 7, 8, somewhere in there, we're kind of pushing it with our construction team. That's kind of the sweet spot. But anything above and beyond that, we'll wholesale off to people. But as far as our leads, we look at ourselves as lead generating machines, especially with Investor Fuse, and now with Carrot, it's been a game changer. But we have our exits are rehabbing. We know who we are. We're rehabbers, right? Mm-hmm. Off of those rehabbers, we'll do some buy and holds if they make sense. So we're always looking for rehabs, but someone will turn into rentals if they're sweet deals. Then from there, if we can't purchase some cash and the deals just don't make sense, we can list them for the client. And we have an auction arm too. So we do lazy wholesaling. In our market, auctions are huge, right? So, and I'm in the #1 most affordable city in the entire nation, the whole planet. Every guru you could possibly imagine is trying to wholesale in Toledo, Ohio right now.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Toledo.
I thought that was still a little untapped.
No, man. I could tell you the quote. They call themselves industry leaders, and they're some of the worst business people on the absolute planet.
But virtually?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Hey,
Not to cut you off. I'm just surprised.
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by auction.
Auction. So auction. If so, I'm talking to you. We have a deal. It doesn't work. It's in an area I don't want. What we'll do is refer it over. We have an auction team that we work with. They'll come over and they'll auction it off. They'll have real estate auctions here are huge. So
okay, so you're actually not just using the word in jest or just as an analogy. No. You're actually holding with an auctioneer an actual auction with an auction house.
We're not doing anything. All we're doing is sending an email, connecting the client and the seller. The auctioneer
as an assignment.
No, hold on. Let me walk through it here, brother. I know what you're saying. All right. So here's the process. Carlos has a deal, right? Carlos clicks on our link on our Carrot website, right? Comes in. we go over and check it out. It's in a neighborhood we're not interested in. What we would say, we'll just use easy math, 100 grand. The people need 100 grand. Well, the house might be worth 2 and it's just a shithole or crap. It's in bad condition.
Yeah,
all right.
You could say shithole, bro.
All right. Let's check it. I don't know what kind of.
We're already shadow banned because of my language, so keep going.
All right, you got it, brother. So then if it doesn't work, Keith handles all this. He'll connect them with Nick. We have Nick at a company over called Amlin Auctions. Well, he'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this isn't going to be a fit for us to buy cash. We're not buying in this area, but we think we can get you as much, if not more money, through our auction department. Is that something you'd like to hear more about? Yeah, what's that all about? We make the connection with Nick. Nick will go out and close the deal. And what will happen is they will drive every investor, every wholesaler, everybody and their grandma all to the front yard, and they'll run the price up, and then we split the buyer commission. So what happens, or the seller commission? What happens on an auction is there is no commission to the seller. The auction's reversed.
The buyer pays it. Yeah.
The buyer pays the buyer premium. So if it's $100,000 house, there'll be a $10,000 premium on top of that, and we split that right down the middle. And that, my friend, is what we call lazy wholesaling.
No, I love it. I love the fact that you broke it down, because what I was thinking was completely different, because people use the word auction, and now you have a lot of people trying to use what is that? Auction.com has an arm where people can do
your
that.
background too with REOs and everything like that.
Yeah, so when you were saying auction, I was really trying to narrow it down and figure out. And then I was curious how you got paid. I was like, is it a referral? But then I was like, well, how is he doing it if it's an assignment? But the way you laid it out makes complete sense. You're pitching this as a part of your company, but it's another company, and you guys have an agreement, kind of like a overreaching agreement where it's like overarching, and it's like, hey, we split this, anything we sell, and you're hands off, and you let them do their thing, and the sellers are okay because they're working directly with them, not through you, through them. But I think that's have you trademarked the URL Lazy Auction, bought the URL or Lazy Auction,
wholesaling.
started Lazy Wholesaling? I'm sorry.
Sell it.
You have a course and an ebook, and is there something I could take to learn this? Because I feel like you have something that none of these other gurus have. That's, if I've ever seen a wholesaling ad, it's Lazy Wholesaling. That is like perfect.
You think that could be some? We're actually we're building the course daily. So if you think that's,
I think that's, you talk about, okay, and maybe I'm just like blowing smoke up your.
No, I love it.
It's like you got slow flips with what's his name, then you have novations, and you have all these other things everyone's doing. Lazy wholesaling, one, it's a catchy phrase. Two, it's pretty ingenious. And if you could teach them how to go do that, I mean, Brown, I think you got yourself the next wholesaling course right there.
Really? You might be onto something there.
I've heard of a lot of people doing a lot of things, and I've been doing this for 15 years. I've never heard of somebody taking, you're doing the same thing as me going to a realtor, but you're reversing it. Yep. And if you have all the documents, the agreements, you have connections with auction houses, you can pitch that.
Videos of how to frame it to the seller, which should be
relatively videos of how to frame it, scripts, contracts. You include all that in a Kajabi course, and you sell that for $99, and there you go.
There it is. Well, I'll tell you, that's the key. That's when people, because the question always comes up when we're coaching people: should I get my license? And I say, okay, here's the key with a license. Am I into working with buyers and sellers? No. But if you have a license, you can do things like this. You can get referrals. You can get, we don't. Any lead that comes in, I learned that when I worked with Than and those guys. That's where their brokers was huge in San Diego, and that's where it came from. Than had just gotten licensed because he was getting all these leads coming. He's like, "What am I doing with these leads? I'm not buying. Okay, broker's license. Now I built out a team of 50 agents, auction department, and all this stuff on accident. It was never a plan, and that's how we got started. I said, how initially happened was when the speaking went away. That was a substantial income. And I said, man, how can I replace that? I got to find another revenue stream in our business. And I'm like, how can I monetize leads that we're not buying? Right. So I said, so I started going around and just meeting with these other auctioneers. I'm like, would you guys be interested in this? Every one of them was salivating. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're just going to send me leads and I got to go close them with people that want to sell. And they're in bad.
Yeah. It's different than an agent, because they want to sell. These sellers want to sell quick, and they want no hassle. And if you say, I'm going to refer you to an agent, which we all do, right? It's still like, no one likes a realtor. They're like next to the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're the most hated people in America. And it's like, it's pretty much at that point, like, okay, but you say auctioneer. Yep. And again, it's the same thing as saying investor. They're like, okay, I can get rid of this quick. It's no hassle. hands off. You're not going to come back to me with all this stuff, the showings. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. And I like what you're doing. Go ahead. Yeah.
Can you put a minimum on the auction so the seller gets what they want?
Like a
Keith, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, that is something for the auctioneer, but you can do a reserve, and that's kind of how you frame it as well on the front end. There's 3 different options on how we can help our sellers. If we can't buy it, I am a listing agent here in Ohio, as well as my dad. And also we have an auction department in-house as well. And of course, that's the first question that they ask. But if you're in the ballpark of about 50% ARV, and it's just not an area that we would buy in, it's pretty smooth sailing on being able to get them that, because another way to frame that is, instead of going to a one-off investor like ourselves, you get 20 in your front yard battling it out, that drives the cost up. And that's the winning ticket right there.
Yeah. Interesting. And so oftentimes the prices go higher than you think they would, or
they have to, right?
Depending on
I mean, it's all the auctioneer. So Nick, who I work with, if they're in the ballpark of, say, like you said, $100,000 house, with an ARV of 200, if he goes in and sets a minimum bid of 99, I mean, you're going to get, up to 140, 150, depending on the condition, obviously. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we actually have one closing today, and the guy literally wanted the ARV on the house was 50 grand. And we did a minimum bid of, I think it was 24.9, and it got up to 30 grand with the 10% buyer premium. And I mean, for out of town investors, you're selling that all day long, because the rents in the area are $800-900, So for them, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So you guys are generating your own leads through your Carrot site?
Yeah. We just, actually, Keith, you might as well take that one too, buddy.
Or you guys are what, doing Facebook
We're
ads,
trying.
Google ads, leading it to Carrot, or just SEO, or what's your strategy?
So we've had it for about a month now, and I've been really diving in on the SEO and kind of just trying to learn, instead of hiring it out, trying to learn and actually do, because it's something that we've never done before. And so far, I was actually just looking, and I think we've had like 1,000 visitors in probably, give or take, a 30-day period with 29 leads, so give or take a lead per day.
That's amazing.
And, so in our market, what I have noticed is not a lot of people are educated on the SEO and how many words you need on your homepage, and, many different things that we didn't know either. And, with the help of you guys and your team, we've been able to learn and add different keywords, and now we're ranking, on the top page, which in 15 years of business we've never done. So now we're up there with the top sponsored ones, I guess you would say. So it's been very valuable within the recent times, and now we just got to keep it going.
What's your website?
HowellPropertiesLLC.com.
Didn't want to break the bank on getting creative there, did you guys? Pretty fucking simple. Like, I was expecting something like house buying guys, or
Nope.
It's just like HowellPropertiesLLC.com.
Hey, I can tell you the biggest, I shouldn't say mistake, but I didn't learn
This is nice.
After we hired a coach, I learned that you're not supposed to do your business name around you have your name in it, right? I didn't learn that until I was 8 years in the game. But from 2010, once we created the entity, I thought, everybody around here, it's a small town. Everybody's like branded by their name. All the big wigs, everybody's got their name. So I did Howell Properties. And it's just been that way for 15 years, right? we're big on the local, our personal brand is, and not to keep beating a dead horse, but the website, we're big on personal brand. I mean, we do meetups.
Yeah, no, this is nice. John, take it live real quick. Look at this.
Yeah,
I'm loving this.
These are clean.
I was joking around about your name, but like this is a very. Me and Carlos spent the other day looking at carrot sites, and like this is a very clean site. This video, very personal, great branding. I like this little section here. Got some quotes, some reviews. I mean, this is a very clean site. This ain't bad, man. Like I could see why you guys are generating leads. I'm not gonna make anybody watch this video right now, but how long is this video? What do you got?
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Dude, did you get that? I'm assuming you got somebody professional to do that, local or something like that?
Yeah, I give a shout out to Tony Javier, handles all of our TV stuff. 10X.
Nice, 10X.
Oh, okay. You guys do that?
Yeah.
Look at you got your social media links up here. Boom. What is this? Google Business Review. That's not, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is great branding, guys.
So, Rick, would you say a hack, if you're not a tech savvy person, is just have a son that's a marketing degree that can do this stuff for you?
Yeah, you want to know the hack? I'll tell you the hack. Yeah,
Yeah, this is nice.
Spend the $69 for the support to walk you through it.
Okay. The premium support.
Get your
That's like the done with you option. No, I hadn't looked at your site in a while. This looks super clean.
I'm clicking around for everybody. I mean, it's very clean. I mean, a lot of it is very similar to other sites, but I think where you're winning is this homepage, man. Like this homepage is, I mean, once you scroll and you see this, and then what I like is when I was clicking through to like your Facebook, that photo essentially ties back down to this photo, so you really know that it's legitimate, right? It's not staged or anything like that. This is us essentially. Yeah. I think that's top notch, guys.
I give him. He's got the total props for all that. Everything that's built is between you guys and him building it out.
That's one of the benefits with Carrot, right? Like, yeah, you have this canned site, but it's so flexible with what you could do. But you know, one of the things that I have like a beef with Carrot on is the users themselves don't really do anything to the sites. They get this Carrot site and then they're just like, let me put my name on and I'm done. Mm-hmm. And they hook everything up and they all look the same, but you took the time.
The biggest thing that I've noticed
why you're getting those leads
with the website and what's helping us, and here's a hack for everybody. We're big on a personal brand local. We don't do any virtual. I've done one virtual deal my entire career, and I lost $250,000.
Oh my gosh!
We do everything within a 30-mile radius of where I live is our blueprint. Well, everybody that comes here, they all brand themselves they try to brand themselves as local, and they're just flat out lying. So it's like when we sit down with the seller that's had 20 other phone calls, and they realize that everybody else has BS'd them the whole time, and that we really are here. It's not even really a comparison. Because they have it's just the way, like there's lots of Carrot sites on the Google, and I know the majority of the people doing this, none of them have really edited. And when they talk to these people, they try to position themselves as local with an out of town area code, right?
That's I used to be one of those guys, so I know exactly.
It's okay.
No, I get you. It is a lie essentially. But, you know, I partner with somebody there, and that's my local team. You know, so you say all these things.
Right.
Now, I used to be the local guy back in 2010, 15, all the way through there.
Right.
But once all this stuff started, and I was heavy into wholesaling, and I put flipping aside, you almost had to go virtual because, I mean, it got so tough to stay local and really do volume to meet, and John knows because I used to talk about this, like meeting the need of the team and like the churn you have to do on deal size to, you know, because you got this big team, this marketing budget, you got this beast you have to feed. And so you have to keep going and finding more leads.
Yeah.
And so you have to go out. But because you're flipping as your primary, you can stay local and still make good money. Yeah. So let me ask you something. We're circling around here, but why not cold, like, so I have two questions, and I'm going to start with why not just like cold calling and direct mail? Like, why aren't you just doing that? Like, do you not like cold calling? Because like a lot of people usually go through these other phases and then they get to the PPC and the Tony Javier and all that stuff that did you skip over all of it, or did
No.
you just have a thing against cold calling?
No, we've done it all. We've had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just cut off our cold call. We just cut off our texting last week.
So you were doing SMS too?
Oh, we've done all the outbound. We had a team of cold callers. We used the Ready Modes of the world. We've done direct, all that. We used to do all the outbound marketing stuff, and TV changed the game for us. I met Tony at a mastermind, and I was interested, and we had the budget for it, and I liked the concept. I knew there was a lot of pros for it for us. I was in the process of building a coaching business. The personal brand, I was watching all these people start to come back to Toledo, and I wanted to beat that and really hammer down on the personal brand of the local brand. And TV just made sense. Well, then once we started it, not only did it make sense, but the conversations were just light years different. The conversations with the people, when people are calling you because they need your service, I knew we were onto something. So that turned into the TV commercials, turned into our meetups that we're doing every single month. So we got a big following with that. I'm also going around and talking to real estate brokerages every month, teaching a topic of one or the other. We're getting anywhere from 30 to 50 people at those. And so our lead generation just has more referral and inbound, eliminate all the outbound stuff as fast as possible.
How big was your cold calling team? Just a couple guys?
The highest I've ever gone is 3 as far as VAs. Yeah.
So it's, I think a lot of guys, it's like, you're doing 7 to 8 a month. Because a lot of guys, I think it's not really advertised. Like there's not a lot of flipping gurus out there bragging about big check. There are, but the way wholesaling has it, wholesaling makes it sound so easy to make these big checks. And flipping, everyone sees it as like, man, it's a slog, it's a grind. But like they don't understand it's a different beast, and there's not a lot of overhead that's not accounted for in your numbers. Right. With wholesaling, you have all this overhead. You have no idea what your fee is going to be. You don't really get a choice of it. It's just what you negotiate. So you find out after your profit. With you run your numbers before you buy the home. All of your overheads already accounted for in your percentages, and you know what your net profit's going to be. On average, across like a month, what do you think, like across those 8 properties, what is your average net? Are you at the 20%? Like where are you trying to be on a net number?
Keep everything below 275 of an ARV, and we like our constraints to be 35 plus on every rehab project we do.
35K or percent?
K, 35K. We like to do 35K a deal. We like to be in 6.
There's not even wholesalers doing 35K assignments at 7 or 8 a month. And you know what I mean? Like that's phenomenal.
Oh, no. When I say 7 or 8 a month deals, okay, let me rephrase that. I don't want to BS nobody. We're not doing 7 or 8 rehabs a month, right? Our deals are at the end of the year, what we like to hit over a 12-month period is 1.5 rehabs a month. That's what we like the average to be. So we're doing 1.5 a month. That's what we like to hit. Obviously, we did in February, March, it ramps up. We're going to be up to 5 this week coming up. But then as it gets into November, December, it'll ramp back down. So between February and November, it really spikes. But at the end of the year, we want to average 1.5 rehabs a month. But our deal flow consists of, again, auctions.
Okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah. No. I don't want to put a false sense out there to nobody. We don't do 7 rehabs a month. Absolutely not. But we'll be up to 5 here coming up by the end of
you're probably hitting like 20 or so a year is what you're saying?
That's what we like to hit. We like to hit 20. Yep.
35K. So you're making like 70K a month net on your flip stuff, plus any auction stuff, any listing stuff. So it adds up.
Stacking bricks. Yeah. Our rehabs have actually been doing really well. 35 would be on the low side. We've hit some 50s, and I think we have a 51 coming up here, going to close pretty soon. Yeah, so we'll get up into the 50s and over 50 periodically.
So, okay. What's your, because I wanted to make this analogy of like, okay, so you're making, let's just say 70 a month just from the flipping, but you really don't, I'm guessing you don't have a lot of overhead, you guys. Now, I know you got Keith, right? Keith, like you're there doing the website stuff, you're doing the realtor stuff. Who's on your team other than you and Keith? Like, what's your overhead?
My overhead is my sister. She handles all of our books and property management for all of our rentals. And she handles all the QuickBooks, all the accounting, all the behind the scenes stuff, and the property management. Keith and I are on the front end dealing directly with the sellers, and he also gets compensated on the agent side too. He's our agent that sells everything. So it's just them, and I have a VA. I have an executive assistant VA.
Dude, John, like if you look at his team, it's so lean.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount
So
of
good.
money and you got wholesalers. I remember when I was hitting my first 100K months when I was starting out wholesaling, but I had a team of dispo acquisitions. I had a cold call team. I had all this marketing software. I was feeding this
So much
beast.
overhead.
My net was so low at that time. And it's like, here you are with your sister. You know what I mean? You and Keith, you got her going, and there's nobody else. You don't have any VAs, nothing.
Yeah, I got one VA, one VA. She's my executive. She does all of our social media stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I know wholesaling has taken this huge, like, social media, like, cool factor. But if people understood the art of what you're doing and the way you're walking home with this money, and I imagine it's a lot less stressful too. I know managing contractors. Yeah, that's not easy. But it's a hell of a lot better than dealing with like 5 different sales guys, dispo guys, cold callers, VAs, texters.
So what I could tell people listening to this is make sure you know who you're learning from, right? So when the first person I ever hired, I mean, Dan and those guys are doing 30 to 50 at a time today still, right, in San Diego. Their whole team operates off 6 guys and one lead and a project manager. That's a much higher level. These are all 7-figure deals that they're still doing to this day. And what we learned was it's about your systems and your processes, number one. And the majority of the stuff you see online, these wholesalers, I've been part of these groups and masterminds and all that stuff. It's ego driven, right? People like talking about the net or the gross number. Anybody can go gross $1 million next month, but if you're netting $20, who cares? Right?
Exactly.
It's just, and what we chase, I'm 47 years old, man. I could care less about what other people think. We chase freedom. We chase time. So our goal is to have everything run like a product going down the assembly line. If you ever look at our Facebook page or whatever, it gets even more boring than that, brother. Every one of our houses is exactly the same. It never changes. The finished product, the paint, the fixtures, everything is exactly the same. If something has to change, it throws me off. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna change it. Right?
Well, it's the smart way to do it. Like a lot of flippers don't do that, but I do it with my mobile home stuff. And
man.
I have an Excel sheet and I call it material standards. I have the SKUs on my Home Depot account, and I don't care what it is. It's the same 14-inch LED light going in every one. I got the same faucets, the same, and it's just same floors. And I'm just like click, click, click.
Yes.
I swap it out with the paint a little bit. I have like 3 different options of paint depending on the house, but but you can what's the word? Scale. You could streamline. Streamline your flipping. I have a buddy who's local who's been flipping longer than I've been in this business, and I always make fun of him because he does that. But that's where I learned it from.
Yeah, man.
And everything. It's like I know when I see a listing online that it's his because I'm like, oh, those are his white cabinets. Those are his like gray floors. That's his paint. Those are his handles and fixtures.
100%.
I'm like, let me guess whose this is. But he also pushes out a lot of product, and he does it very, very efficiently. So that's smart. I don't think a lot of guys even do that.
We call it the boring flip, man. People, the haters will tell you, why do you always do the same thing? And I'm like, because it makes the most money. Do
you have a process for that, like Excel sheets? Do you have a software that manages your flips, or what do you use for that?
So we're even more boring than that, brother. Every house we do, I have one cabinet supplier. I use Home Depot. Like my life depends on it, and everything we do inside of Home Depot, you can save it to a list.
Yeah.
So everything's a list. Every product every house we've done has a list. We just go back and duplicate it, and we use a property or just a project management software called Basecamp. So that's how we all communicate through Basecamp.
Basecamp.
Yeah, we use Basecamp. That's our communication.
I think we had told you about that a while ago.
Told me about that?
I think so.
Yeah, because John uses Basecamp. He tried to get me on Basecamp a while ago. I did.
Yeah, maybe it did. Yeah, you probably did. I mean, we've been doing it probably back when we first started Investor Fuse. That could be very well.
We use Basecamp and InvestFuse the entire time, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's great. It's $30 a month, and you can do it. You can do your whole business through it. I know people that run big, huge corporations that use it. And we're just running 5 or 6 people with our project, with our construction team and that. So yeah, we try to keep it as lean and thin. And if anybody has ever read the E-Myth, the E-Myth principles, there's a system, a checklist for everything we do. There's a checklist inside of Basecamp, literally from the second the offer is accepted all the way till Keith closes it on the sales side. A step-by-step process for the entire thing.
So other than
you're obviously we're heavy into carrot and using
Yeah.
investment views and all these
Yeah.
things to nurture and do your leads. Do you buy from realtors and wholesalers? Do you get a lot of those, or do you just not want to mess with those nowadays?
No, we'll buy anything as long as the numbers make sense. 99% of the agent or 99% of the wholesalers don't know what the hell they're doing. They just don't. And we've bought, Keith, how many deals have we bought off wholesalers in the past 2 years?
Oh man, probably last year, I think. So he didn't do any the first like 12 years. And then I think we did like 3 last year. And then this year, crazy enough, we're actually, we bought 3 from agents as well. So referral base. But yeah, prior to that, I mean, I think we've probably maybe done like on one hand, in 15 years with wholesalers.
Yeah.
So do you
Hold on, wait. Is that because they don't price it right, or you get better margins if you generate the lead yourself?
Both, 1,000%. The wholesalers that come here, so everything's changed now. I mean, it can't get more slimy, man. Now what's
We're with
happening
you on that.
is they're sending the industry leaders are sending these checks of fake offers, telling you here's your offer to get you on. And then they get you on the phone and they tell you, well, okay, now actually I just had this like happen to me 2 weeks ago. Somebody told a client that it was bad business if the local investor wants to come out to your property. That's what she said. And I said, okay. Come to find out, they sent her a fake offer. And then they said, but our team's going to come out after you look at our phase offer and we're going to follow through. Then we're going to knock it down another 50%. So that's how we separate is a lot of them have no idea anything about construction costs or even how to buy off of a percentage. We tell everybody that our numbers, we can usually buy 50 to 60%. Anything under 60% ARV, we can usually take it down. But they just put a $200,000 house under contract for 180 and then get pissed.
But it's hard. Isn't it hard for you to compete with that? I mean, because I when I was flipping, right, my numbers are the same as yours. But what I found is as I was continuing to flip, and unless I was buying my own deals, hey, I could not buy flips from other wholesalers because they're selling it to other guys at 75, 80 cents on the dollar of ARV. I'm sorry. And here I am wanting like 60, 65 on the, a percent of ARV to make my numbers work because I've been doing it so long. I just know shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I found it hard where the only flips I did after like, I call it the MLS era. Yeah. After the MLS era was basically my own lead gens because I couldn't make their numbers work.
The wholesalers that come here in this market, Toledo is it can go nice neighborhood and bad neighborhood really quick, right? Mm-hmm. So where people are doing all the wholesaling and they're going in these war zones and wholesaling these deals that are just shithole properties that I wouldn't go to anyway. And who they're selling them to is people from California that'll pay anything. They're looking at Zillow thinking they're in this great neighborhood and they're not. They're in a war zone and they're buying them on the 1% rule, which is totally fine. That doesn't match our business model anyways. We buy everything. We buy everything in C+ areas. Yeah. A lot of times B areas. We like to stay in our sweet spot's usually about the 150 to 275 tops price point. But I mean, we're in an area where you can get houses for 30 grand all day long, and we just don't want to do nothing down there.
Yeah.
That's where all the wholesale.
So John, going back to John's thing, it's the same problem I had, right? The pricing is so bad on wholesalers. You just do better buying your own leads.
Yeah. And it's a lot less stress, a lot less. Even the TV commercials they're costly, right? But your spreads are so much more, and not just that. Your conversations are so much better because people are calling.
You don't feel like you're selling; you feel like you're helping.
You're helping. That's it. We offer a service. Our website spells it out clear as day. Our commercials spelled out clear as day. And then when Keith and I go on the appointment, we go on all the appointments. He's being trained how to do that. So we go on all the appointments by ourselves together. And so you got the website with all of our pictures. You got the TV commercials, and then the 2 guys that are on TV are sitting in your living room. That's what helps us close deals.
Yeah,
love that.
So how penetrated are you with the TV ads? Are you targeting certain channels, certain times? Like,
so
are you doing digital yet?
There's a science to it, and I got the printouts on when they all run. There's a science to. I don't understand the ins and outs, but I can tell you this. They target I laugh at this. They target the Judge Judy's. They target the divorce courts. It's very scientific on how they target. TVs or the clientele they're aiming for, and it just works. I mean, we've been extremely happy with those guys.
Good.
Nice. Have you looked into like any of the streaming? Like I know like Hulu, you can start to put ads up on
Bring
that.
that up. We were just talking about that. Again, I'm not educated on that. I don't know. I told Tony I don't know anything about it. I said, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm someone in that situation, am I streaming TV? Right?
Oh yeah, they are. Oh, 100% they are.
Are they? Really?
Bro, as a landlord who deals with low income people who have like shit going on in their life, dude, that's why they don't have money. They're buying fast food, cigarettes, all the streaming services, and fake name brand shit. When we do evictions and stuff, they have it all, bro. They have the Roku set up, the big screen. There's one thing they have. It is whatever is pleasure and entertainment, nothing that is economical and fiscally responsible.
That makes sense.
Yes, they are 100%. But again, I don't know if you get to choose what shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you can pinpoint, but they
target zip
100% have Hulu and Prime. That's why they can't pay their bills, dude. Like,
John, did you say you can do it by zip code? Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, you can. You can do it by zip codes.
Really?
I mean, that's the nice thing about digital is like you can target exactly where the IP address is coming from.
I get that, but can you still do like, because with Hulu, there's every show on there. Like, yeah, I don't want it showing up during Bluey, but I do want it showing up during like reruns of Seinfeld or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get specific to the show. I think it's categories that you can choose. Like this is
That's good enough, right? Like, yeah, news, daytime soap opera.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
all
it.
of them.
That's it. They laid it out and showed me the printout. I'm looking at all this, and sure as shit, man. The people that call in, how'd you hear us? But I was sitting here eating bonbons, and and here we are. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy shit. And I couldn't imagine sitting in front of my TV at noon.
What kind of return are you getting on that ad spend?
We're I'd say probably 4x. I bet you.
What are you spending? Can I ask what you're spending a month on your marketing budget?
Yeah, we're spending $7,000 a month. Now, if anybody listening to this, it varies in every market, right? I learned that in our market, it's $7,000 for 1,000 commercials. I think, 1,000 commercials, and then I pay an additional $1,000 for the mastermind, so about $8,000.
That is not bad for a 4x return.
No. But I'm sorry. But were you not doing any other online? No PPC, no Facebook. It's just SEO then?
You know what? I did. I took my TV commercial and I put $200 behind it on a Facebook ad, and that's been working too. That's cool. But no, I've never done any PPC or any of that stuff.
So let's just say you might do it or you're going to do it, but that's then going to increase your lead count, which will then potentially increase how many homes. Your 1.5 might go to 2.5. Is that something you want?
No.
Or
nope. Nope. I just want to stay consistent, and as long as everybody's happy and we're all making the money we want to make. If someone says they want to make more money, we're going to figure out a way how to go make more money, right? We're not just going to raise it. We're not just going to increase the salaries. We're going to say, okay, if you want to make more money, how do we do that? We need to do 3 more deals, okay? And then we're just going to delegate for that. But as far as
you would take on more flips per month.
The next step for us to take, if we took on more flips, was I'd have to probably hire an in-house construction manager to be in-house. Right now, I don't. I got it 1099. So if we took on more than what we have now, we're going to see. We're getting ready to load up here really good over the next 2 weeks.
You let me know if you find one.
Yeah, well, that's my guy that's been managing our projects, and that's my sweet spot. Somebody says, "What are you good at?" I'm good at talking to sellers, and I'm good at managing construction projects. I've done it my whole life, right? So
building work scopes, material ordering, all that stuff. That's that's all systemized and easy to do because it doesn't change, right? But hiring someone in house, I just don't really want any other employees.
Yeah,
my son and I have a good time. My sister and I, everything's really dialed in. Not to say it couldn't grow there. Could we put the things in place to do that? Yeah.
Do you have an office or do you work out of your home?
We're at an office. Yeah, we have an office.
So bring on employees not going to be too much. I thought if you were working at home, well, then you need an office and then the expenses start going, but you already have that. So yeah, I can see. I was just curious because like you're getting good at ads. You've literally only scratched the surface with Carrot.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, well, what is he going to do when he starts getting these more deals? And then he's doing 1.5. He's going to say no to the 2-3 a month.
No.
So what are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a plan there. So I'm friends. We have like a little investor union here, right? I've got like 4 other people. One of them is a buy and hold guy, lives in St. Petersburg. He has about 700 units here. Another guy I work out with in the morning. They do probably about 25 rehab. There's like 5 or 6 of us that are good investors, integrity, no slimy shit. They're always looking for deals, right? So if it got to the point where we had more, then we could just start wholesaling some off very easily.
Good plan.
Love that.
I mean, I like that you're aware of what you want, and like this is not to use the term perfect, but like a lot of people like look at, we've talked about it, the Instagram videos, and they're like, oh man, I want that Lamborghini or whatever. Like you're just super happy with where you're at, and like it gives you the freedom that you want. You're not entrenched into your business. Like I wish more people were like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, what I learned was, going to all these events and all this stuff all over the place. I learned that 99% of what you see isn't real. And a lot of those people are depressed and miserable because they're broke and they're living a fake life trying to impress everybody.
Yep.
And not to say that everybody's like that, but there's a lot, and maybe it's my age. I could care less. It's fun to me. And that's why, we're working on building the coaching business, and that's how we're building that too. I personally don't want to work or coach with anybody that wants $1 million tomorrow. I want to work with somebody that wants to build a real estate business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ideal clients to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell us about the coaching program.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing.
So make a long story short, when the speaking and all that went away with Fortune Builders, Stan called us out, and everybody was kind of like, it was like taking a lifestyle of a guy driving a Lamborghini 100 mile an hour into a brick wall. That's what that felt like, right? Because we're on the road 40 times. It was just a lot. And a little while later, they wound down the road stuff because there was 4,000 events a year we were doing as a team. And that all went away. And then him and the guy Noah and the guys that built it all kind of called us out and said, "Why aren't you guys building? Why aren't you guys coaching people yourselves? All your experience. Have you ever thought about that?" And I didn't know anything about that. I never wanted to be a fortune builder, like have a big company or anything like that. I just wanted to build a community of people that want to learn how to flip houses and go that way. So I started joining these masterminds full of coaches and influencers and all this stuff. And I realized really quick that wasn't for me. So what I did was I connected with Noah and the guys at Fortune Builders, and now they're working with me on building this from the ground up. And what we do is we teach people how to build real estate investing businesses, everything, basically the same model as what Fortune Builder was, from everything from coming out of the gate, building your, from your name all the way to your exit strategy. And it's we tell them it's a 12 to 24 month process. If you want to be rich tomorrow, don't get involved with this. But if you want to build a real estate investing business from a professional, we can do that. And what I've learned is as we're building it out, I've learned the pain points of what people need. Anybody can come up with the exit. Everybody's selling the exit strategies. Everybody's selling the thing, the novation, the wholesale. Everybody's selling that. But the pain point is, number one, is finding deals and talking to sellers, right? Yeah. So we spend a lot of time on teaching people, number one, how to find a deal, what is a deal, how to analyze a deal. And then number two is talking to sellers. Because without those 2 pieces, you don't have the rest. A lot of people sell the result, like the thing, the what happens at the end of the deal, but then they don't teach them how to find it. So we take them through the whole gauntlet of the E-Myth principles, man.
If I am nowhere near as probably qualified as the people you have helping you with your coaching. Yeah. And if I could just say a couple things. Yeah. I think your key marketing, on top of everything you just said, if you needed some like tagline, salesy stuff, you need to lean into boring. Well, the word bore. No. And the reason why is because, and we talk about it on this show. Yeah. I think what's unique about you is you're not here trying to sell AI, complex systems. You use Carrot easy, InvestorFuse easy, Excel sheets easy, Basecamp easy. And so for a lot of people, which your demographic, you as 47-year-old, your demographic probably going after 30, 40-year-old people, they're going to really relate to that. Do you not want complex systems, high-tech this? You just want to start a basic real estate company that can make you 20, 30K or free you from your job? Let me introduce boring flipping. I'm blah, blah, blah. This is what I specialize in. I think that's genius. Yeah. Because that's a huge thing. And then you're lazy wholesaling. And I think that's a whole thing in and of itself. I think you have 2 catchphrases there that you could really do, where I think you could resonate with people that when you're trying to market towards them. I think those 2 things would be huge for you. And of course, obviously you do the sales, you do all that stuff in the background,
Right.
But it's like if you had to attract people, I think those two things are really huge pitches.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that.
Totally agree. I think you got a unique perspective and experience on a solid business for your family. Like, I mean,
You guys are dealing with so many people with what you guys do. What motivate, like what, I know you guys, people that are doing the big, the 100 deals a month and all that crazy stuff. You talked about the size of those types of teams. Like you've lived that. Like that just sounds absolutely miserable to me. Is that what is that like? Like the people you talk to, are they like high stress? Are they like what is that like?
What? Hang on.
okay,
The people who do that volume?
Well, just like they're the big team, all these things, all these people, all these moving parts. Like what's that lifestyle like?
It's very stressful.
Is it?
I think it's stress. It is stressful, but they find the people that like that get addicted.
That's
to
not
that.
true. That's not true.
Okay.
Very few people. He's thinking about. I know who he's thinking about. Very few people ever find those people, and if you're lucky to find that one partner that you can hand everything off to, but that is a 1% of the population.
I'm more talking like the staff, though, like the staff that are expected to make that many phone calls a day. Like I'm not talking partners.
It's regardless. It's stressful as fuck, dude.
Is
it is stressful.
You're managing all of these pieces, and you have a nut that you have to make every month.
Yeah.
You have to trust other people to do their job, and if they don't, now there's some guys out there who excel at it, and they found the people to put, like John said, to put into place as good managers. But I know a lot of people in this business that have not gotten that their life, and John, you do too, that their life is a roller coaster of expenses being cut, and growth happening again, scaling it back again, scaling it up again. And it's a constant thing because they're doing it all because they've never found that one person they can hand off operations to, or that one person. They may have a bunch of VAs,
Right.
but none of the VAs, no matter what they say, are intelligent or skilled enough to truly be a hands-off, you go to the beach and let me run your business.
Right.
No,
But then you have, so until you have that, like your life is stressful as hell.
To do that kind of volume, to get to the point where you can head to the beach, you have to have a significant business, and you got to find those key people,
Right.
like the ones that are doing volume, and they may be making a good margin, but they haven't found those people. Like they're not getting time off. They're
not getting
working
time off.
7
I was
days a
there,
week.
bro. I was there, and then I was flipping and wholesaling, and I was making multiple six figures, but I was spending so much on my overhead to feed the team. I'm running around to my flips. I even had a project manager, but even he needed managed. But then I have sales teams, and it was just like, I remember I was just like, this is when I started getting mobile home parks. I was like, I'm so over all of this.
That just sounds
It's so transactional. And you see the big checks, but like John alluded to, it's like the big checks, but then like, what am I walking away with? And when I was a realtor, I was by myself in 2010 and I was working for the banks. I was making $300 to $400K and I was keeping 95% of it. I had a 5% commission split and I was keeping 95% of my money was all me. And I was just making a shit ton of money by myself in my 20s. And now I'm wholesaling and I have this $1 million plus business, but I'm making less than I was when I was a realtor and everybody else is making money. And I was like, man, this is just not like it. I would have to keep scaling.
Yeah.
And it was just, and that's just me. I can't speak for everybody. I know some other guys who have the same problems. And we know some people who went out of business who just, the scaling and the stress of it, they just ended up, they start shutting down their systems.
Right.
Just like they get into something else.
I think it goes in cycles too. Like when there's more properties moving, I feel like people are happy, loving life. When stuff starts tightening up or there's not as many buyers buying, it gets tight. So I think it goes a little bit in cycles, but I'm sure it's pretty stressful for a lot of folks.
I think
changed so much.
it's like, but at the same time, in like defense of it, and even doing mobile home parks now, like scaling that business, it's like, I don't think there is a business that is not stressful if you're really trying to scale to a high dollar. Like I contemplate even now, like, I'm taking down my 4th park. We're going to have like 250 units under management. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I could just stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is that what I want to be comfortable? And then like, ultimately I'm like, no, I want like 100 parks. And, but with that comes a price, and I have to do all the work. So it's stressful. Like I think any business that you want to scale is stressful. Now, if you could get to a point like where you're at, where you're happy with the business you have it streamlined and processed, and you have no desire or no need, not desire, but need to grow.
Right.
And now you're just like, hey, for fun, I'm going to bolt on Level Up REI coaching, and like, this is going to be fun for me.
Right.
That's a completely different story
Right.
than me saying, I need to buy another one to feed these employees. I need to take down another.
Or yeah, or even I need to start a coaching business because
how many
getting
people-
slow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was going to tell a story about, and we messaged on social media. I've never met him in real life, but like I followed him, and he was wholesaling. And I remember him being extremely honest about like how his partners wanted to go into coaching, and they were failing at wholesaling, and he just didn't feel comfortable with it.
There's a lot of that.
So he literally, like, over the course of the past 2 years has shut it down, scaled it back, went into flipping, learned how to borrow other people's money to buy flips, and rebuilt his whole business.
Yeah.
And he's doing great, and his social media presence is great. And now you watch that journey of like where he's now doing what you're doing, right? He restructured his entire business from the grind of wholesaling to doing the flipping first mentality, growing a real estate business.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to he's taken down some buy and holds here and there.
Yeah.
But like, and I've seen more of that. And it's like, that's a perfect example of somebody who got burnt out. And their reason was like the overhead. They were doing deals. It was just with the partners needing money. Then the employees, like, dude, there's only so many mouths, like so much to feed the mouths of the people on the team.
Yeah, we just like a nice slow paced. You know, if we can do a rehab in 6 to 8 weeks tops, that's our goal. Is just bang these things out, man. I don't really know anything else because that's how I learned. But I see that I've been around so many different people doing so many different types of business that I've been immersed in what I don't want, and I can tell the just the body, like the stress and just the bleh. I'm like, no way, man. I just want to live. You know,
that's a wise. That's a wise thing. See, I'm not in the wise category. My dad always says there's dumb people who don't learn from their mistakes, smart people who learn from them, and wise people who learn from other people's mistakes. I'm in that smart category. I have to make the mistake and then I learn.
And
but like, obviously, yeah, like you're watching and you're learning, and that's a very wise thing. You're like, I see what they're doing, and I want none of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had to go through, you know. I think a lot of people do, but I think what you're doing is making a comeback. I think more people that want real estate are not looking to wholesaling anymore and are like, okay, is there a different way to do real estate without the grind of it? I had a dude that I knew back in my 20s message me on Instagram asking if he should get into wholesaling, and I was like,
no.
it's like, is it legitimate? Is this as easy as they make it sound? And that's when I all right, dude, let me break this down for you.
There's so many people that buy into it because the mentality of the younger people nowadays, it's a very microwave mindset mentality.
Yeah.
You know,
They want it fast, they want it now.
Yeah.
I try to teach my kids that's not a thing.
That's just the way it is nowadays, man. And it's just like, you know, when I got in real estate, we didn't have all that shit. We didn't have, you know, we didn't have Facebook. I mean, in 2009 or 10, I don't even know.
We didn't have any of that, dude. When I started, like there was, which is why you could buy off the MLS.
Yes.
Honestly, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's like,
yeah,
those were the days. You literally, when I was buying real estate, you could wait. Like there was time. You didn't even have to make an offer the same day. You could make an offer in that first 2 weeks, and you could really get money off. And you had time to run contractors through. It was all local guys, so you knew. Me and my buddies would call each other and be like, "Hey, are you the guy bidding against me on this price?" And it would happen a couple of times. You're like, "Okay, I'll pass on this one and let you take it down."
Right.
But, you know, I'm going after this next one or whatever. And like, that's not how it's done anymore.
No, everything's over the phone. Everything's virtual, and we're still old school, man. We go to every house.
I bet that makes a massive difference to your seller. Is there anybody else, like you get to a seller appointment and they're like somebody else visited them, or is it 100%? I'm just getting phone calls.
Mostly just getting phone calls. There's a couple of local guys, but the local guys, most of the local guys still are trying to get from auctions or MLS. I can't tell you, other than out of town people, I don't think many people are doing marketing outreach. Local people.
Interesting.
It's all out of towners. You know, like I said, Toledo is the #1 most affordable city in the entire United States of America.
That's crazy. I'm still surprised so many wholesale people are marketing there.
Yeah. That's because the Californians will buy them up. They'll buy them up. The 1%.
And honestly, Carlos, it's like, are they really being that targeted, or are they just blanketing a whole thing and they get Toledo deals?
Right.
It's like nowadays
Probably.
everyone's blanketing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Toledo pops into it. It's like my area. I get blanketed because of Tampa and Orlando. And so, like, which is what I hated, because I loved that it was all local guys. We were such a podunk town. And then one day we made the news about being like the cheapest place in Florida.
That's what happened here. Yeah.
And it was like, and I remember it was like the biggest insult. I'm at this event. This was like 10 years ago or something. And I'm at this event and I was like, I'm from Lakeland. He goes, oh, Lakeland. I love Lakeland. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's such a great place. The downtown, they're really doing this, the lakes, blah, blah, blah. He goes, no. just for making money, I make a lot of money. Like, and I got so insulted. I'm like, F you, bro. Because he was from another state. And I'm like, I felt like you're just attacking. Like, all you're using me for, my town is money. Like, come on, dude. Like, I'm a local. Like, I love this place.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the mentality. People from other states, they just market it and they just try to make their money and get out. So I think you got a good niche there with the being local, doing the ads, real estate flipping, real estate investment business first. I think we're going to see more of that coming, especially as wholesaling becomes more difficult, more laws, more regulations. The barriers to entry are getting higher because of these regulations.
Yeah.
So I think people, in order to survive, are going to have to do that boring and lazy way of doing stuff.
Right.
Getting rid of the big sales teams and all of that. Now, we've talked on the show, there's still going to be your big 1% of gurus that are running the big marketing and sales stuff because they can. They have the overhead, they have the money, they have the staff, like John said, they have the right people in place.
Yeah.
Mostly probably because they were like the originals. And, that's that.
Yeah. There'll always be something for everybody. It's just, that's a beautiful thing about real estate is there's a million different ways to make money at it. And a lot of times you just need to figure out who you are and what you do,
It's a gift and a curse, though.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of ways to make money, and we always talk about, like, you see these people, they're swapping from, well, I'm flipping, I'm Airbnb-ing, I'm doing long-term, I'm doing mid-term, I'm doing sober houses, I'm doing sub-twos, I'm doing this, and it's like, bro, like, pick up.
I didn't say pad
Because they
split.
scroll too much.
Oh,
man.
pad split. Yeah, pad split. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. They scroll too much. They find the next link and they just start clicking on all these links. And next thing you know, they got all this shit going on.
John knows I hate pad split. Pad split's the dumbest thing. Do you guys do pad split? I'm sorry. Do you do?
I know what that is.
Good. You don't want to. they
I
take
would
a
hope
single
Toledo
family-
with $30,000 properties doesn't have any pad splits.
no,
We don't have
They
much
would do-
there, brother.
they would do pad splits, bro. Like, I remember the first pad split I encountered before pad split was a thing was in the ghetto. A guy had
Really?
chopped up a house. Yeah, I bought this quad and this house next to it as a package. And the house, the guy was trying to pitch me as multifamily. He basically went in, chopped up the living room, threw a wall up, and chopped it into bedrooms. And everyone shared the kitchen and the bathroom. And he's like, yeah, I think X amount of money. He had like 5 bedrooms in this shotgun style house. And I sold it to somebody. I wholesaled that off and I kept the quad. But it was like, that was the first time I encountered a pad split before there was a name pad split. That's what it is. It's taking all the common area, turning it into bedrooms. Everybody shares the kitchen. You rent it out by the room, like dormitory.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
Realistic strategy.
Yeah.
Sounds like
It's a transgender house, basically. It's a house. It's a house dressing up as a multifamily property.
those all went away 3 weeks ago.
I know. I'm waiting for people to catch on to that. Yeah.
And then went the ban on social media right there.
And so pad split's like the thing, but then Airbnb, and there's a lot, like you said, it's all the scrolling. But staying focused, I think, is a very important thing. And is that what your key? Is that what you're going to be teaching and level up? Is kind of like just showing, stay in your lane. I don't do all of this. I just do this.
Yeah.
If you want to learn from me, this is how we do it.
Yeah, we teach people, number one, I've made all the mistakes. I did one virtual deal in my entire career in Indianapolis, partnered up with a guy, and it didn't go well. We ended up losing about $250. It's the only virtual deal we've ever done. And I share that story about how we became good investors. And that was by losing money on a deal I shouldn't have done. And so why would I leave this sweet spot that we're at, just to chase a bigger dollar amount? I jumped at a shiny object. Everybody does that, right? Well, jumped at the shiny object, got kicked in the teeth, went through 3 years of depression and anxiety and a lot of money. and realized that for us and our business, we're in the honey hole of what we do. Why do we need to venture off to it? At one point before COVID, I had just went down and got an apartment in St. Petersburg. I was there 60 days and was planning on expanding, right? I had the great idea, start expanding. That was before the whole virtual thing got big. And then COVID happened. Well, down there, as you know, you're being from down there, the numbers all quadrupled. So that made absolutely zero sense. To the entry points were just dumb compared to the entry points where I'm at. So I said, man, all signs are pointing to let's just crush our local market. So that's where we stayed that way. And I think I know everybody's market's different. I've got friends that invest all over the country, but the ones that do the best and have the best lifestyle, the things that I want to teach,
Lifestyle,
man. They've all got their niche down. Most of them are local. They're niche down into whatever their thing is, and then they might have other verticals come off of that, but they're always niche down into what their thing is. Their one thing,
Yeah, and that buddy I was talking about who does flips, and that's what he's like. He stays local.
Yeah,
he's in this county. He does a couple like right outside the county line, but it's like he does his thing. He takes vacations. He has project man. Like he has a very good lifestyle that most people want to attain, but he literally only does one thing.
Yeah.
But I tried to get him into mobile home parks, and it's like that just doesn't resonate. You know what I mean? Like he's like, this is what I make money on. Like this is what I know. And it makes complete sense. It's like, why wholesale? We've talked about lead generation with him and stuff. And it's just like, I don't want a wholesale. He's like, I don't want a sales team. I don't want.
Yeah.
It's like his lane. And he does extremely well doing it, makes more money than most people in the business doing it. He's been doing it forever. And it's like, you can't argue with that type of success. Lifestyle and money combined.
Right.
Like you get both out of it. And that's what everybody wants is lifestyle and the money.
Lifestyle by design is what they say, and that's what we teach. The whole thing is this is bigger than me. I mean, it's about my son, right, and my sister and my mom. The things that if I make it I overcomplicate shit enough as it is. I'm not acting like we have the perfect business. I'm a shiny out. Like they have to keep me reeled in. So I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm great at coming up with the idea and the idea of how I want to implement it. I'm shitty at making sure it's implemented properly the way I want it done. That's where Keith's getting developed for right now. But if I overcomplicate things and we have this big astronomical business of all this weird shit going on, I'm never going to be able to teach that to somebody, especially not somebody that's only been in the business for 2 years, So if we keep it simple, we keep it boring, we keep it as optimized and processed as possible, and we just try to hammer out deals. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, we have a wrap-up question. We used to do this very back at the beginning of the podcast with guests, and we forgot about it for a while, but Carlos reminded of it. So I
thought Rick would be good to ask this question too.
Okay.
All right. There we go. You're in an arena,
right,
with all of these animals, and a hunter with a gun. You have to pick two. Only two.
Okay.
They'll defend you, and the rest are coming to kill you. Which two do you pick?
And for those listening, BP, who are all these? Is it 50 hawks?
So we got 50 hawks, 10 alligators, 3 grizzly bears, 7 bulls, 1 American sniper, an American being keyword there. We got 15 gray wolves, and we have 1,000 rats.
10,000 rats.
10,000
rats, 5 silverback gorillas, and 4 male lions.
Man, this is a toughie. Where the hell did you guys come up with this?
I think somebody saw. Did you see it on social media one time?
The first year or two, we asked that. We kind of phased this out over the last year, but we're bringing it back. But we're
bringing it back.
But now here's the question: not only what do you pick, the real problem we had is like why you're picking them. We also can't say whether they speak to you, if we could give commands or not. That's a huge question on this show. Can I tell them flank on the left? You go that way. You attack them. Like, how are we handling this?
I'll kind of take this and let me know if this is cool. I would assume you can't give them like instruction, like they're animals, but they know that they're defending you in general. And
that's what I need to know.
That
they know they're protecting me, and they need to go fucking kill for me.
If you have the hunter, though, you'd be able to communicate just because it's human to human.
And we don't know where the hunter's placed. When we were doing this originally, we assumed he's up in the stands of a coliseum. Because the original ad, you're in an arena. So we think he's up in the stands. If he's down on the ground with you, that adds more difficulty. But because he's a sniper, we're thinking he's up there pegging them off one by one, Navy SEAL style.
How many rifles does my man, or how many bullets my man got?
Let's just say in this case, unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Enough to
How many
last
can
the
you get
entire
off
duration.
before you get ripped apart by a silverback?
Friggin' tiger, yeah, or a lion. Man, let's see. So 4, 5, 10. I can't wait for the conversation that's going to happen after this. I mean, 7. Shit.
This is somewhat as you're thinking. This is almost like a good, like, not like an interview for like hire, but just like it's interesting to see how someone puts their thoughts together, explaining how they came to that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this will be really easy to overthink. 4 lions. Then there's some big ass bulls.
10,000 rats, though, is quite a bit.
A lot of rats.
We did math on the average footprint of one rat, multiplying it by 10,000. It takes up significant amount of a standard arena. So you can imagine a swarm of 10,000 like New York City rats coming at you.
Man, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the 7 bulls.
And what else?
Oh, 2. Shit. Oh, that makes it even better. 7 bulls. Then let's go with 15 wolves. So I got
The bulls and the wolves.
I don't know why you're picking the bulls. The bulls are pointless. Okay, what are they going to do? Charge me? My silverback gorilla will grab it by the horn, body slam it.
They're gonna fucking stand in a circle around me and protect me.
Oh, okay.
But you have the sniper up there who's going to shoot them in the head, and they're done.
And then I got 15 wolves for the speed.
That's true. The 15 wolves,
I like the wolves.
I like the wolves too. But
I was thinking size and speed.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm
Size
a
and speed,
gorilla
that's good.
defending me and 10,000 rats.
I forgot about the guy with the gun though. If he's sitting up there perched by himself, he could pretty much take out whatever he wants.
I know. I usually I'm between the guy with the gun and the rats because I think if I could command the rats, 10,000 of them swarming, that's pretty good. But I also like 5 silverback gorillas because I'm pretty sure with their dexterity, they could do some damage. They're protecting me. But the guy with the gun's got to be on your team because he could start taking out my 5 gorillas in under 3 minutes. He's just reloading, pegging them off in the head, unless I can tell one of my gorillas through sign language, like, woohoo, and he's like,
well, he would just know. They would just know.
Well, someone needs to go take out the effing sniper then, which is why the agility of a silverback gorilla.
I mean, how long do you have? It's not like if anything gets you, it's a wrap. It's not like they got all day to.
It's a zero-sum game, bro. Somebody's walking out alive. Who is it going to be? It doesn't stop till either you are dead or the rest of them are dead.
All right.
So I mean, this is Gladiator.
What is there a right answer to this thing?
No, there's no right answer.
Psychology, something. There's got to be an answer. No.
So what's funny is I was finding this graphic before, and Google Gemini did have an answer. I didn't see it.
What did Google Gemini say?
I didn't see it. Just when I was trying to find the image, like last minute.
No, we don't want to know. We don't want to ruin the fun of this.
AI does have an answer.
What would you do, Keith?
Oh man, I'm looking at this and I've been staring at different scenarios for the past 15 minutes. and I think I heard someone say it, but I mean the grizzlies and the silverbacks just sound like a combo there.
The grizzlies and the silverbacks.
And I mean you got 50 hawks. Like that's the only thing here that can get some airtime, it's a tough one there. 50 hawks, flying around, just pegging at you.
Eagles. Those are eagles.
Eagles.
Oh, eagles.
They could get all those animals in the eyes, minus the rats. It'd take them a long time to get through all the rats.
That's true, but my sniper can shoot them all. The 50 is a lot.
Something about the silverback, man. What wins here?
The silverback.
Silverback.
Yeah. One variable I'd like to think about, Keith, in this scenario, just to get like an idea of like where we're at in value, is like if you double or triple one of those, how much more valuable is it? So like imagine
No,
if
you
you
give
had
me-
15 silverback
Oh,
gorillas.
that's-
You'd be like, oh my
that-
god, that's like game over. You could
That's
have
like
just,
having a whole
five-
NFL team. You have an
Right.
NFL team of silverbacks.
You know, if
Or
we
if you
have
had
20,000
500
rats,
hawks.
though,
I think
20,000
like
has to be allowed.
the bulls might be the best things against the rats because if they charge and they
they
just
could
keep
trample 'em.
running,
I just
They
don't know how
have
you're
the
killing
mass.
that many rats. Like, how are you killing those rats
Yeah.
in mass? No one gives a shit about the. We haven't even talked about the alligators or lions.
oh, they're so
But
slow.
honestly,
like if they're out of
that's-
the water, like it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, if John isn't picking the water animal, then I'm just not even going to acknowledge the water animal as an option. Here's what I would imagine the scenario is, though. I don't think it's a sniper up in the arena. I think it's literally just like an arena,
Yeah.
and like you and your team start on one side on the same
Yeah,
level.
I
and
think
then
that's
everybody
more
else starts.
realistic.
I think that's kind of the best way.
that
to imagine
almost
it.
that almost makes the sniper horrible because while I'm over here fighting
Ground
with my
level.
gorillas, yeah, the grizzly's taking out the guy with
He'd
the
only
gun.
get a few shots. He'd only get a few shots off.
Yeah, or because if the grizzly attacks the guy at the same time, the eagle's coming down at the guy. The eagle's getting him on the head. The bear's getting him in the that sniper's his guy.
Yeah, I think the logical answer is you need something bigger if you want to go for like the Grizzlies.
You need the
silverback,
gorilla.
And then you
The
need
gorilla.
something small, either the Hawks for the only air thing or the 10,000 rats, and just hope that they can muddy up the water a good bit.
Yeah.
great question.
All right.
Anyway, I want you guys to just think about this while you
Yeah,
sleep
think about
tonight.
it. Yeah, think
For
about
the
it.
next year of your life, I want this to haunt your dreams.
The rest of the day.
What you would do.
I'm going to be driving around
Lasting
going,
impact.
what would you do with the Tigers? Or the Lions?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Rick, thank you so much for joining us. It was great
Yeah,
to
thank you,
learn
guys.
about you and Keith and your business. I think what you're doing is super inspirational. I think people should scan that QR code and learn from you. I do have another one here I'll put up at the end. You have a free Facebook group as well.
Yeah. Yep.
There's the link to that. So connect with Rick. He's got lots to teach you, and not only just about real estate, but just like how to have balance in your life, which I super respect about you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you all here next week.
All right. Have a
Pleasure,
great
guys.
week.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.